By the end of this hunt, all going to plan, we should have a milestone that we've been working on for forever, and that is 1,000 kills with the heavy recurve here in the Hunter Classic, and that would make it, I believe, the third to last bow that we have to reach that mark on. We are, I believe, at 987 right now, if I counted correctly, and that should mean we need 13 more kills. And the reason that I'm doing a classic video today specifically is because I'm not sure if there's going to be a classic stream, and by the time this video comes out, whether or not the stream happened, that will have already occurred. But just in case there is no stream, I wanted to do the video. I might be hunting whitetail, and I figured I might as well go to the most similar map in Classic 2 where I hunt here in PA, and that would be the southern part of Whitehart Island. So we'll see if we can get any big whitetail along the way, and like I said, by the end, we should be hitting a new milestone. Always a good way to get some additional harvest when a random whitetail doe comes into the call for a buck. The only thing we need to be careful about is making this drop shot, because I think the buck could be close, and just avoiding any potential for that doe to run off and spook him is pretty key, not only in just getting him and getting hopefully what could be a decent score, but also just trying to kind of get these additional harvests. And considering the fact that he is 92-115, we know we're not getting a huge score, so it's mostly going to be about the harvest here. But the nice thing is, actually, another buck just sounded off. And in my experience, kind of the early part of the hunt, specifically on Whitehart Island, can really set the tone for the entire hunt, because ever since they added bobcat to this map, I feel like they really cut into the whitetail population. And a lot of times, it is bobcats or maybe just whitetail does that are calling. So to get a couple of bucks early on, I feel like we have the potential for a good hunt, but that is two of what is hopefully just going to be 13 harvests with the heavy recurve today, and with a potential third one already coming in. I thought I heard footsteps as well. I started looking around there. Another whitetail doe coming in, so all in this one spot. At least 4 deer coming into that same call, and again, it will help to kind of add some stats there so we can take her down. And even though the buck was far off when he called, I think we'll just kind of stay here and not risk moving around and spooking him. Unfortunately, once again, he is pretty low scoring as far as the estimate. I hear footsteps of something, and they were still going while this guy had stopped. I was going to say the silver lining with this buck is he's 65 to 75 kgs, so for him to even be as big as he is kind of good. So I guess we'll try to make this shot. Nothing spooked. There's gotta be another doe coming in. I wouldn't imagine a buck would hang around. I guess I am not only deaf because that buck was coming in behind us, but also wrong because it was in fact a buck. Although, I mean, I was also right because there is a doe coming in. The good news is we're gonna be about halfway done with our whitetail harvest, and we haven't traveled 700 meters yet, so I would say we got a good whitetail spawn, and I'm interested to see what the rest of the southern part of Whitehart has to offer. But just right in here, we've got deer coming in from all directions, and at this point, we're gonna have to really start walking around to claim stuff. But if she can kind of get past that buck's body without tripping on it, we can take her down. That is all the whitetail that were coming in and dropped in kind of an interesting fashion, but I think we have 5 or 6 down now. And I mean, who knows really, but I would assume that we've probably shot all the whitetail in the immediate areas, so I feel comfortable walking around and going to claim them and not just kind of continuing to crouch under the assumption there could be another buck on the horizon. But like I said, you never really know. We're just going to try to speed it up, and I'm kind of considering fast traveling. So many whitetail in this one spot. How many more could there really be? At the same time, there are so many whitetail in this one spot, so why can't there be one more? And there is a doe not that far away. Now we might just go ahead and try to move along, because we're not going to stay here just for a whitetail doe. But I mean, had that been a buck, and it wouldn't have surprised me at this point, we'd definitely be trying to get it as well. And I guess that will confirm our decision to go ahead and fast travel. So we got this one last doe to claim, and just to kind of get away from that one doe, because we know it's trying to come into our call, it's going to kind of be moving this way. We might as well move off and kind of get ourselves into at least a little bit of a new area. We're not going far, just a couple hundred meters, but that can be enough to make the difference. So bull elk will work as well as whitetail bucks. We can try to bring them in, and I can see definitely a buck out in the field already. So might have been a good decision. Another kind of average size one, but let's see what we have for the elk out here. I mean, numbers wise, we're looking pretty good on bull elk, but as far as the size of them, none are even, actually I'm not even sure any would be big enough to kind of crack our 200 mark for what we're looking for in whitetail. Now, this guy is doing some interesting stuff, so while he's finally still, might as well take him out, and the other ones are still coming in. And by the way, I did actually hit the grunt call as well, just to get the buck coming in, because nothing over here is super special in terms of score. It sounds like that one elk is trying to come up like right on top of that rock. Oh, or, well, I don't know where that came from, but I guess go ahead and try to get him. Again, I wasn't aware that there was anything behind us. I'm not sure if anything has changed as far as the sound, but usually that's something that I would pick up on. Anyway, if we can pick one of these ones that's maybe not doing all kinds of crazy glitchiness as they're trying to come in, we can attempt to get them. Now they're both breaking free, of course. Since that guy's behind the tree, I guess we'll attempt to drop this one. And somehow they're still hanging around. I would not have expected that. Now, I'm going to say it's probably going to end here, but stranger things have happened. Yeah, that is going to send them off, including the whitetail buck, which is honestly fine by me. We've had our share of kind of average-sized whitetail bucks already, so no big deal. I am curious if any of these elk are going to crack 200. 198 for that guy. The other one that we shot right underneath us might have been a little bit bigger. I think I saw some extra tines there to put him over the mark. 177 only. So maybe we didn't even crack 200, which is, you know, like I said, this hunt is mostly about trying to get to that 1,000 mark for the heavy recurve, so ultimately the scores don't matter much. But it is nice to see the, you know, larger potential trophy class animals as we are out. But if I'm keeping track correctly, that will be sand harvest. Now, what was that was coming in? Another buck. A very tiny buck. So, I mean, we fast traveled into an area that had two more. That is a good sign, and actually another doe out there too. Just hopefully there's going to be a big one somewhere up here ahead of us. It's kind of put us into a weird spot here. There were a couple of decent bucks in this area, and in tracking one, another one grunted. I really don't know why they both spooked. I never did see or hear any sign of that, but one is just kind of walking in front of us, and he's not bad. 132, 155, and I guess based on that, he would be the one that we're currently tracking, which I've kind of lost track of which it would be. I think it was the original that we started following that kind of got us here, and then the other one grunted. He's got to be down in this area as well, and at this point we'll definitely try to get him too. So what we may do is go ahead and take a look at our buck here. He's double lunged at 19.6 meters. A 143 score isn't exactly special, but just for kind of the sake of maybe spending a little time to let the other buck calm down, we'll see if we can get a picture in this little patch of sunlight. And I would say for what it is, that's not a bad looking trophy shot. Obviously it's not a huge buck, and we're missing quite a bit of score. This left side is not bad. He's got good lung tines, but the right side doesn't exactly match it. So we can sell him, and we'll probably just kind of start slowly scooting around and calling. Now there was a doe in the area as well, and if I've counted right, if we got the doe and the buck, that would actually put us at number 1,000. So I'd be perfectly happy to try to get them both. Actually, I see the doe, so let's just kind of bank on her coming in, and I mean, by the time she gets here, the buck may well be on his way too. So if everything goes to plan here, this should be, again, if I've counted correctly, heavy recurve harvest number 999. So we'll get the shot off first before we make anything too official. And I've never been one to, in Classic, try to make like a milestone harvest a special one. I do it often in Call of the Wild because I feel like it's a little more under your control. When it comes to Classic, everything is so random, and to kind of just let a bunch of stuff walk in order to find one specific good-sized animal, it's never made a lot of sense to me. So I am glad that doe wasn't number 1,000 and I was off by one in that case, but hopefully this buck will be decent. I don't even know where his tracks are at this point, but I do have to assume he'll be around, so we'll keep on moving slow for the moment. Somewhat fittingly, this was not the buck that we were tracking, and I did get eyes on that one. It was just another 120, but this guy called, a 155 to 180 estimate, and I think he must be a 7x7 because he doesn't have that kind of claw at the end of his main beam, but he's got a really nice frame and generally solid tine length, so he's got one pretty big deduction there. I would guess he could top 170 pretty easily, and actually I'd like to maybe drop him out there in the sunlight in the water, so if we can, before he goes any further, we can drop him. And like I said, if I counted everything correctly, this should be harvest number 1000 for the heavy recurve. Double long shot once again, and he did top 170 at 170.86, and there is the 1000 heavy recurve bow harvest achievement. And I think that does leave us with 2 bows remaining, and approximately 1500 harvests to get to 1000 between them. We have a little over 500 with the longbow, and I think unfortunately with the cable back bow, maybe like 50. So there's probably going to be a lot of traditional bow use in the upcoming videos, but it is going to be nice to actually use a different bow for the first time in a long time. And also, making use of what you guys taught me in a recent stream, I had no idea you could use the mouse scroll wheel to adjust the height of the animals in these trophy shot poses. So instead of having the bow kind of floating, we can lift the buck up and it looks a little bit better. And before the sunlight decides to fade, we can take that trophy shot, and that may well be the last time we see the heavy recurve in quite some time, and it is cool to actually get that harvest number 1000 on a 170 whitetail. And after a lot of pretty average sized bucks, a couple of decent ones to wrap it up. And like I said, I am excited to go out and start using the longbow and the cable back bow. And I actually did a recent hunt here on a Whitehart with a longbow and got like 20 something kills from the golden tree stand in those areas. I feel like it'll actually be a fun bow to use. I used it there and I quite enjoyed that hunt. So like I said, looking forward to getting to make use of those bows in the near future. And I guess we'll kind of see how that treats us likely in the next video. But anyway, that is going to do it for this video. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.